Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders discussing issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Ann Marie Sorrell.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Lunch with Legacy Leaders. I'm your host, Ann Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group, Florida's premier global marketing, advertising, and public relations agency. Now, it is Women's History Month, and we have a very special guest I'm going to introduce momentarily. And we recently celebrated International Women's Day, and anyone who knows me knows one of my favorite topics is women and empowering women. But before we get started with our broadcast, I want to thank our sponsors for making this broadcast possible. So thank you to the Mesman and Dover Accident Attorneys, AARP, the Florida Lottery, FAMU Mary, and All of Us Research Program at the University of Miami. Now, Women's History Month is not just about celebrating the history and the great contributions of women, but it's also how we empower women. And today I'm joined by special guest, Ms. Stephanie Jones, who's president of the Advanced Plan Administration at Convey Health Solutions. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me, Ann Marie.
You're welcome. And I'm so excited to just dive into your background and how you have been doing such amazing work in the healthcare industry for such a period of time, but also how you're empowering women within your organization as well as within the community. So today we celebrate you as well as a part of our legacy series.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. So let me just do a brief introduction, and then I'm going to have you kind of tell us in your own words, but I have a brief bio just to give our audience a little background about you, Stephanie. Stephanie is a native of Miami and a graduate of Miami-Jackson Senior High, class of 1986.
Go Jim.
She has over 30 years of experience in healthcare, a graduate of Nova Southeastern University, which I'm an alum as well. Stephanie began her career in healthcare working as an account manager and an underwriter for Cigna. And at the age of 32, Stephanie was promoted to Vice President of Product Development for one of South Florida's largest health plans. In this role, Stephanie led product design and portfolio management for the Medicare Advantage and Medicaid HMO products, helping the company grow to 250,000 customers and over $500 million in annual revenue during her tenure. And in 2005, Stephanie joined Convey Health Solutions as the head of its newly formed managed care business and progressively assumed more responsibility over the years and now serving as president of the Advanced Plan Administration Operating Unit. And as president, Stephanie has profit and loss accountability for approximately 20% of the company's $400 million in annual revenue, management of strategic client relationships, and operating responsibility for over 1,500 employees in the U.S. and the Philippines. And Stephanie is on the board of directors for Miami-Dade's Girl Power Rocks and is the chairperson of fundraising and sustainability. So again, welcome. And I know this is just like a slither of your experience and background. So share with us, Stephanie, your words, your background and journey to becoming, the president in your current role for Convey.
Wow, that is a long 30-year journey, but I will try my best to compress it into a real short answer. But, right out of college, Ann Marie, I went to work for Cigna. It was an entry-level position as an account manager, as you said and read in my bio. Had no idea really what I wanted to pursue. I just wanted a job. Just like most college graduates, you just want a job. I was making $21,000 a year, and I thought I had made it. Okay, I made it. I had arrived. And what I quickly found when I joined the Cigna organization was, number one, it was an organization full of young and energetic people. And they gave us the opportunity to be successful. Shortly after I joined Cigna, they reorganized, and I had already had my eye on becoming an underwriter. And so timing was perfect because they did a reorganization. Everybody was able to apply for whatever job they wanted. And from that point on, I applied for that position as an underwriter, got that job, and that position changed my whole life. I got the opportunity to work with a broader group of people in the organization, all across the organization, finance, accounting, our CEO, operations. So I had a big scope. Also, I got an opportunity to work with clients. And from that point forward, my career continued some work in some way with clients. And I think that is really what put me on the path to where I am today, just being able to work in a lot of different organizations. And I was never satisfied. Every 2 or 3 years, I wanted to do something different. I was not content with being an underwriter. I think the easiest way to say what my path was to becoming a president was relationships. Every job that I moved into from the time I went into underwriting was because someone that I worked with or worked for at another organization took me with them. As they grew, I grew, but it took me working hard and proving myself to them along the way.
Wow, and that's so amazing. I'm so glad that you talk about relationships and you working hard and growing because I know you and I talked a little bit before the show, but I'm seeing that there's I don't want to say I guess a lack of appreciation and value in A, relationships, B, working hard so someone can see your value and be willing to empower you and take you along the way. And I hope anyone that's out there that's listening, especially our young women who are you know looking at their careers and looking to grow, that they take that message with them because we're seeing a lot of people not understand that they're shifting very quickly from career to from job to job. It's just a job and it's no longer a career path. So I'm glad that you kind of explained that and really talked about the relationship because that's so important. And I think our young people are missing that.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in this journey so far? And what are some of your biggest accomplishments as well?
I'll talk about the seat at the table. So Monica Richardson was the keynote speaker for our Women's Summit last week. And she coined the phrase, take your seat at the table. And that phrase actually resonated quite a bit with the attendees at the summit. Early in my career, I was pretty intimidated with speaking up, particularly when I was in a room full of men. In this industry, it definitely earlier on in my career, it was very male dominated. And generally speaking, I was either the only woman in the room or one of a few. And more often than not, I was the only minority woman in the room. So it took me a while to find my voice. I wasn't confident in how I delivered information. I would say something and it would just either be unheard or go over their heads, or maybe I didn't articulate it the right way. But then a couple minutes later, my male counterpart or someone else in the room would say the exact same thing, but they just articulated it a little better than I did. And they would get nods and, yeah, we agree, we agree. So that was a challenge for me early on. I kind of would take it personally, but then I realized I'm different. My upbringing was different. My educational background was different. And maybe I wasn't able to articulate things as well as them. But what I learned quickly was that I needed to build relationships with my male counterparts just as much as I needed to build relationships with the women in the company. And I had to get comfortable taking men to lunch, or building relationships with men in the company. That had to be a part of my journey, and had to get them to know me and learn how I communicate and what's important to me. And we actually, in more cases than not, I was aligned with these men in the company. And so I learned that. And so I just decided not to try to be them, just to be me, and just build relationships with them. In terms of accomplishments, I would say my biggest accomplishment, and I've had many, but working for Convey Health Solutions has afforded me the opportunity to do so many things. I've been with the company 18 years, but in those 18 years, it feels like we've probably been 4 or 5 different companies. And so it's never gotten stale. I've never gotten complacent. But I've been given the opportunity to work in so many different areas of the company, but also my CEO, Steve Farrell, the rest of the executive leadership team over the years have given me many opportunities to be successful. And I have been instrumental in helping the company grow from $30 million in 2012 30 million in annual revenue to 420 million today. So I will take that as a part of my accomplishment, and it's on my resume. So, I think, women, we have to know our worth, and we have to acknowledge when we've helped, and we have to put that on our resume as well. So
that is amazing. Now, I want to just kind of reiterate those numbers from 30 million in 2012
yes,
to 400 million today. So that's in about an 11-year span, or actually just about 10-year span, 11-year span. That is amazing, and congratulations and kudos to you, and kudos to the CEO for providing those opportunities for you to really excel and help grow the company that way.
And sometimes I wasn't ready for those opportunities, and he gave me those opportunities regardless, ready or not. So.
Well, speaking of opportunities and speaking of readiness, you recently hosted the first annual Convey's Women Summit. Tell us more about the summit.
Yep. So with the support of our entire executive leadership team, two of my peers, Amy Shook, who heads up our Legal Affairs and Human Resources Department, and Susanna Pichardo, who heads up Accounting and Finance. We are the three women executives in the company. We wanted to do something for the women. We wanted to celebrate the women in the company. I'd been with the company 18 years, and in my tenure, we had really never done anything to shine a light on the women in this way. So we decided to invite all of the managers and above women in the company across the enterprise, which was about 100 women from the Philippines to as far south as South Florida, to this event. It was a 3-day event in Fort Lauderdale at the Gallery One Hotel. And, we had some goals and objectives for the summit, but I think we far surpassed those. And it really was to shine a light and to honor the women, and to make sure that they understood the role that they played, and to really help us formulate a strategy for our women programming for the company going forward.
Well, that's good, and thank you for that. So I know it was also International Women's Day. Mm-hmm. Was that also part of the inspiration to hold it during that period?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it initially just started as a simple conversation over dinner with some of our women leaders in the Philippines, and it was a simple invite to have them come visit us in the U.S. And that conversation turned into the brainchild of Amy Shook, which was, well, let's have them come during Women's History Month, and particularly on International Women's Day. So the event was obviously March 7th through March 9th, with our main event being on International Women's Day on March 8th.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I want to take a look at, for those who weren't able to attend, like myself, I was, out of town. Let's just take a quick look at what took place at the Women's Summit.
Good morning. I'm Stephanie Jones, President of the Technology Business Unit for Convey Health Solutions. We are here this morning at the lovely Gallery One in Fort Lauderdale for our first annual Women's Summit in celebration of Women's History Month and International Women's Day.
Your life's purpose is simply your life's message. It is the message you wish to drive during your time here on earth.
So happy you guys are here. Appreciate the attention.
And I'm just happy that we've allowed a very small part of this exciting.
Wow, that looked like an amazing event. I love the diversity that was in the room, all the diverse faces of women that were there. That was good. So why you had some really heavy hitter speakers, which I want you to tell us a little bit about the speakers. But you also had several women in leadership from the organization. So what did you want them to get from the summit?
Yeah, I think going into the planning for the event, we actually established several committees of women across the organization at different levels of management that actually were the reason the event went so well. Those women did a lot of work. And so Susanna, Amy, and I were the visionaries for the event, but they actually pulled it together. I think when we sat down with the committee, though, we had a lot of goals and objectives. Mainly, we wanted to bring, the teams together to collaborate because we had never done that. We've never had a forum for all of the women leaders to be in one place. And so many of the women had never met one another. Some of them had never even, collaborated at all via Zoom. So that was like priority number one, making sure that women had a venue to meet and collaborate. But number two, we wanted to start opening the conversation for where we want to be in the future, where we want, the women in the organization that represents 65% of our employee base. We want to have more of a voice, and we wanted them to be in a situation where they could kind of help us understand the programming for future years in the organization. So that was the initial goal, but I will tell you that by the end of the summit, I think that Susanna, Amy, and I were um, definitely impressed by some other things that came out of it. The goodwill that we've established with these women, I think will go a long way for the organization, and making sure that people are, hearing what they need to hear from their leadership team, that we're attuned to their needs, and that we're going to help them, grow their careers and whatever that means for them. So, coming out of it, we got a lot more out of it than I think we could have ever expected.
That's awesome. Well, let's hear what some of the women who was in attendance had to say.
Great.
I think it's wonderful that Convey is making a concerted effort to hear the voices of what is, we found out today, 60% of the organization, and that we get to have the opportunity to mingle and hear stories from women in leadership and hear their ways of making it to the top and what they've had to do and finding our purpose here is just been very inspiring. And I am hoping that what that means is that when we do put our voices together and inform Convey of what will help to keep this business growing and diverse and keep the company moving forward, that we have our hands in it and that we did this for us. So, thank you.
So I am a big proponent for women in corporate America. I speak, I take advantage of the fact that I sit in the boardrooms with the men and I advocate for the women. And I think that is very important for women like me who have been able to sit at the boardroom to advocate for the other women. Because I think we are the ones that can make the impact. We are the ones that can speak for them and have that voice. So, it is truly an honor for me to be able to do that here at Convey, and really represent the women and celebrate today with them this very important month. So thank you so much.
So that's just a few of the voices that showed, how impactful the event was. Did you all do any type of like survey, or are you going to have like any, I guess like follow up conversations, or have you already done that to see like overall? Oh, you're muted, Stephanie. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, absolutely. We've already sent out a post-summit survey. So we're waiting for the results of the survey. And we've decided that we're going to do a road tour. So the three executive leaders, Amy and Susanna and I, are actually going to visit each of our offices and have smaller group conversations. We're going to start those road tours in April. So those meetings will be put on the calendars of the women that were in attendance, and some of the women that weren't able to attend will also be a part of these road tours. So that's absolutely the next step.
Absolutely. Well, I know that Monica Richardson was your keynote, and I just want to we have a quick snip from Monica Richardson and about her slogan that she uses. And I want to go into a little bit more with you about it. You touched on a little bit in your intro, but we want to go into that a little bit more. So let's hear from Monica Richardson.
It's really, really important that as women, we take our seat at the table. Every day we're in boardrooms and we may be shy and think that we don't deserve our spot. We do deserve our spot. Women deserve and need to have a place at the table. So many leaderships and leaders and companies fail because they don't have women in the right positions. This is a day where that needs to change, and women need to support each other. This conference, this Women's Summit, has been an example of that, and I'm extremely proud to be here to celebrate with them as they have their first summit.
And I'm here at the summit today to lead a workshop called Leading with Values. And the summit has been so incredible so far, really empowering to be among such powerful women, particularly on International Women's Day as we're celebrating Women's History Month. The power of community is just something you can't beat. So when you get a group of really powerful women in a room, I believe true magic happens. And so it's an honor to be here among these fantastic women. And I'm excited to see what the rest of the day has in store.
So we hit on two things here, two powerful messages. One about taking, and I emphasize that phrase taking, because oftentimes we've said, oh, we need to have a seat at the table, which seems as if we're asking or, looking for permission or seeking, versus Monica takes the approach of a more direct approach of taking your seat at the table. And then we had Dominique follow up with value, talking about value. So what were your takeaways from both of those speakers? And for women out there that may have started out like you, who were maybe a little shy, not as confident, and had to build it, what advice do you have for women to take their seat as well as to recognize their value?
So I was never shy. Monica talked about the fact that she was shy and she would sit at the back of the room. I wasn't necessarily confident in my delivery of information, but I was never shy. And I'll give you a literal example of me taking my seat at the table. I remember once, I believe I was working for Cigna, and we were in a big meeting in the boardroom, executives in the room. I actually came in the room and took the seat at the table. I took the head seat at the table. And after that meeting, my boss said to me, you need to be cognizant of the seat that you take at the table and your position in the room, and make sure that you don't take the head seat at the table because you're not at that level yet. So I took the advice, but I took a literal head seat at the table. And in my mind, I was always going to have a head seat at the table. So I didn't have that issue of being shy. For me, I've kind of always led my career in this no fear mentality. I've not really feared retribution or anything like that. I just, used my voice. I always use my voice. I just needed to grow confidence in how I articulate and how I deliver information. So I would say to any woman, new professional, someone that's been in their career 15, 20 years and still kind of struggling with how to get that seat at the table, be your authentic self. Your business and your function and whatever it is that you bring to the table, probably better than anyone in the room. Believe in that and express yourself to the best of your ability. Everyone is not always going to understand what you're saying or agree with what you're saying, but that doesn't mean that you have to take a back seat. You just keep pushing forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that advice. And definitely not shy. This is a good thing. So it's always great to see top leadership in support of events like the Women's Summit, and in support of initiatives across the company. And it seems just from our conversation here that your CEO, Steve Farrell, is a super, super supportive CEO. And, so I want to show a quick clip from Steve at the summit, because it looks like he might have been one of the few men there. Yeah. So let's show a quick clip, and then I want to come back to his contribution and his support.
Diversity for us is more than just something that we talk about. We really drive our organization. The women within Convey have had a dramatic impact on the success of the business, and we're stronger because of the diversity of the business. Diversity is something we pursue more active. It's important to do the right thing to do. We also support stronger to
looks like we may have had a little technical difficulty there with the reception, but
something that will organization, the women within Convey have had.
All right. Well, we tried it again. But let's just move forward. It looks at the end of the day, he was there. He was supportive. He supported you, Stephanie. Tell us, is there actual diversity program and initiative at Convey that creates a path for women to grow and succeed?
Yeah, so I would say that there is currently not a diversity program, but there's certainly heightened awareness and acknowledgement that diversity is important. Our CEO several years ago made a conscious effort to diversify and make the senior leadership team more diverse. When I first joined the organization, we had one female executive. She was the COO at the time, and he's made an effort to improve that. I think right now about 40% of the organization, VP and above, are women, or maybe that's director and above are women. So that was because Steve recognized the need and he made strides and steps to diversify the business. In terms of diversity across the organization, and you saw from the videos and the pictures from the event, we are extremely diverse, but it's not enough. Steve recognizes that it's not enough, and there's more work to be done. So following the summit, because of the success of the summit, number one, we have made a concerted effort to now work towards a 3 to 5 year strategic plan specifically around women's initiatives. So that is something that is a takeaway from the summit and will help formulate our strategy going forward.
That's a good thing. That's wonderful. And so what's next? I would assume you're doing a summit again next year, but and we didn't really get a chance to really talk about what exactly Convey Health Solutions provides. So can you just give a quick snippet of what does Convey Health Solution provide? What's next on the horizon for Convey as well as yourself? And will the summit happen again?
100% the summit will happen again, because we made commitments to the women that were there that we're going to be doing this on an annual basis. So you have our commitment that that is a true thing, and we are definitely moving forward with planning for next year. Convey Health Solutions, in a nutshell, we are a software and services company that sells to health insurance companies or health plans. So our customers are Cigna, United Healthcare, Aetna. We serve 9 of the top 10 health plans in the country, but also hundreds of other small to mid-sized health plans. We provide software solutions as well as operational support to these plans. We also have an advisory business based out of Chicago, where we provide consulting services to health plans, whether it's Medicare Advantage, commercial insurance, vision and dental. We have feet on the street, really skilled professionals that are in these health plans, advising them on their strategic direction, products and services, you name it. So that is what we are and who we are in a nutshell.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing, because I realized we didn't really go over that for those who may be wondering what it is that you all actually do. So, before we close, there's a couple of things I want to do. Number one is there a golden nugget that you would like to share with the women who are tuned in? Okay. And as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month?
Well, for me, I have been pretty successful in my career as a wife and as a mother. But throughout my life, there are aspects of my life where I operated in fear for whatever reason. And that was not in my career or as a mother, but there were things that I was afraid to do. And I am currently writing a book to address these fears. It's called Running to Catch Up. And what I would say is, if you're living in fear, whether it's in the boardroom, whether it's asking for promotion or asking your boss to give you more responsibilities, stop that immediately. There is no reason to live in fear. The worst thing that can happen is someone tells you no. And what's wrong with no? No is a learning experience, just like yes can be a learning experience. So that's my nugget. This is my no fear year. And in this past 12 months, I have gained exponential personal growth in so many ways. And so opening myself up to, express myself or to be in rooms I would have otherwise been afraid to be in has done nothing but good things for me.
Well, I love it. The no fear year. Like, we should all adopt that. We should make that a whole hashtag, right? The no fear year. So when is the release of this book? Because Legacy and MIA Media should definitely be hosting a book signing for you.
I'm still writing. I've written like 8 or 9 chapters. I probably have 4 more chapters to write, but I'm hoping by May, June at the latest that I'll have a book. I'll be a published author.
Well, you definitely have to keep us posted on that. That is, I will tell you, as a fellow author, you are going to be booked and busy once you launch that book.
I hope so.
Well, good. So how does someone get in touch with you, or if they want to learn more about or get involved with the next summit or with Convey, how can they get in touch with you?
So the Women's Summit is really for our employees internal. We did have a few special guests that we invited, obviously, and we probably intend to keep it that way at least for the next year. But in terms of contacting Convey Health Solutions for job opportunities or just to learn more about what we do, conveyhealthsolutions.com is our website. We're on LinkedIn as well. We're very active on LinkedIn. So anything that's going on in the organization is generally posted on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Well, Stephanie, continue to be the amazing leader and trailblazer that you are. Continue to empower the women in your organization and in your community. And thank you so much for sharing this spotlight with us and sharing what you've done with the summit, what you're doing with the women in your organization. And please keep us posted, of course, on your new book. Can't wait to hear it. And the year, what was it? The year No Fear Year. See, I messed it up already. The No Fear Year. So stay with me for just a couple of announcements as we wrap up. I want to thank our sponsors again for making this broadcast possible. Thank you to the Mesman and Dover Accident Attorneys, AARP, the Florida Lottery, FAMU Marion, All of Us Research Program at the University of Miami. Nominations are still open for Legacy Magazine's Most Influential and Powerful Black Business Professionals for 2023. And that's for Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. If you are someone that's accomplishing great things professionally and civically, then you could be one of Legacy Magazine's 2023 Most Influential Black Powerful Leaders. Please submit your nomination by March 17th, which is tomorrow, is the deadline. And of course, we have something for everyone, so please be sure to tune in to our shows. Mondays, The Business of Black Business at 1 p.m. with Jay Reynolds. Tuesdays, My Money, Your Money at 7 p.m. with Bridget Lumpkins. Wednesday, Soul at 7 p.m. with Nikki Jellin. Thursdays, yours truly, Lunch with Legacy Leaders at noon, followed by Flavor of South Florida at 7 p.m. with Chef Irie. And of course, we can't forget about your health, Black Health Fridays at 2 p.m. with Dr. Michelle Kerwin. Also, make sure you sign up for our newsletter so you can get all of the happenings around South Florida, and you can check out the newsletter as well as our current issues at miamediagroup.com. That's miamediagrp.com. As always, share this video, like and subscribe to all of our channels, and be sure to tune in with us again next Thursday at noon. Thank you all, and thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Ann Marie.